Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for being here as we talk about the new Captain America Brave New World movie. So we're going to be doing an update here, talking about the box office and kind of the critical and audience reception of the movie so far. It looks like when it comes to its CinemaScore, when it comes to its critics, when it comes to its audience, this movie is kind of all over the place. The critics are saying one thing, the audience are saying another, and the CinemaScore is saying another thing, again, entirely different. So it's kind of all over the place. People are so divided on this movie. I saw this movie yesterday. I did put up my full review now on the channel, guys. I'll link it down in the description. So if you want to see my full review of this movie and what I had to say in detail about my experience viewing Captain America Brave New World, check out that link in the description, check out that video, and you'll see my full review and insights into the movie. But anyway, we're here to talk about the box office and the critic and audience reception. So let's get into this article, let's break down all this good information, and let's see how the movie is faring under the scrutiny that it's kind of receiving at the moment. So this is coming to us from comicbookmovie.com. Captain America Brave New World receives MCU's lowest ever CinemaScore, but is still eyeing a $90 million opening. So I believe that this movie's budget was around $180 million. So if it gets a $90 million opening, I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. I think this movie is still going to be profitable. It's still going to make a fair chunk of change. But I don't think it's going to be as good performing as what Marvel hoped it would be. Especially with the critics majorly divided, with the fans majorly divided. When you look on social media, there's like, for every comment of someone saying that they enjoy the film, there's someone saying that they didn't enjoy the film. It seems to be split right down the middle. And when we look on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is basically 50% as well, which is kind of crazy. But let's get to this information. So the review embargo for Captain America Brave New World lifted earlier this week. By the way, guys, I did do a video doing a breakdown of the critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes as well. I'll make sure I link that down in the description. So you can go onto that video, read through the critic reviews with me, and where I have a discussion about the breakdown of all the Rotten Tomatoes top critic reviews. So check out that video as well. As of now, the latest Marvel Studios video, the latest Marvel Studios movie, I should say, sits at 50% on Rotten Tomatoes based on 234 reviews. So let's go over and double check to make sure that that score is still accurate. So if we go over now, 234 reviews, 50%. So it's cut right down the middle. For every critic that liked the movie, there's a critic who didn't like the movie. So it's just absolutely split down the middle, which is kind of insane when you think about it, really. Okay, so it's the only MCU's third Rotten movie, and if it's any consolation to the team who worked on it, still a few percentage points ahead of The Eternals, which sits at 47%, and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania at 46%. That's still not good company to have, though, when you think about it. You make a Marvel film, and you sit with Eternals and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, the two worst Rotten reviewed movies in the MCU. So, you know, it's not a good place for this Captain America movie to be sitting. Personally, I believe that the review score should be higher than 50%. I did enjoy the movie. It had its faults, but I probably would recommend it. Would I go back and do repeat viewings? Probably not, but I would recommend it for someone who's a fan of the MCU content for sure. Moviegoers and fans have started chiming in, and Captain America Brave New World's CinemaScore has been revealed. Remember, CinemaScore is a market research firm that surveys audiences' reactions to newly released movies. So for those of you who may not know, this is what CinemaScore is. So after attending opening night screenings, moviegoers rate films on an A+ to F scale, providing insights into audience satisfaction. Widely used in the film industry, CinemaScore helps gauge the initial reception of movies and influences box office predictions based on audience feedback. So this company actually turns up in the flesh and blood, if you like. They actually turn up to the movie theaters. They stand outside of the box office, and as people come out of their viewing, fresh out of their viewing, they actually sign what they think the CinemaScore is in person. It's not done over the internet. It's not a digital. It's not like a digital thing where you go online and sign it. It's actually signed in person at the cinema or theater, whatever word you want to use, after they've seen the movie. This is where we get into the CinemaScore for Captain America. So Captain America Brave New World has been awarded a B-, the lowest ever score for an MCU title. That's below the B given to the two Rotten movies mentioned above and the Marvels. A B- puts Sam Wilson's first solo adventure on par with 2003's Hulk, Dark Phoenix, and Venom: The Last Dance. Captain America, The Winter Soldier, and Captain America Civil War got an A. In 2011, Captain America: The First Avenger was graded A-. The Incredible Hulk was also given an A-. So the fact that it's divided right down the middle with critics at a 50% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and also it's got the lowest cinema score of any Marvel film, it's just not good. It's not good. So the reception for this movie is just not good with critics. It's not good with the cinema score. But ultimately, actually, if we go over to Rotten Tomatoes, do they have yeah, so the popcorn meter, so this is verified ratings from actual audience members. It's currently sitting at nearly 80%. So there's a big discrepancy here between the critics and the audience when it comes to this movie. And that seems to be the case for a lot of movies in this day and age, where the critics will say one thing, but the audience actually enjoy it more than what the critics do. I mean, having a nearly 30 plus percentage on the critic score is kind of crazy. And remember, they're verified ratings, so we can verify that these people bought a ticket, they actually saw the movie. But, you know, having almost 30% more than the critic score for the audience score, it just goes to show. Sometimes the critics aren't always right, or the audience feel completely different to what the critics do. But it looks like it's going to have, you know, a relatively not bad opening weekend with $90 million. And it's going to have a 80% critic score, but it's got the lowest cinema score, and it's divided when it comes to critics on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's, like I said at the beginning, it's kind of all over the place at the moment. So, the latest box office projections point to a $39 million Friday for Captain America: Brave New World, ahead of a 4-day haul of $90+ million. Over 3 days, the movie looks set to earn $82 million, $84 million. Let me say that again. Over 3 days, the movie looks set to earn $82 million to $84 million, sorry. So the reviews haven't hurt this one yet. The second weekend might not be good though, especially if word of mouth is negative. Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, if the word of mouth isn't good, if people don't do repeat viewings, if people just not saying good things about this movie ultimately, then nobody's going to go back to do repeat viewings. Nobody's going to go with their friends and family in large groups, which is ultimately what you need to drive up the box office. And the second weekend drop-off could be pretty significant. If it's higher than 60%, then I think that's pretty catastrophic. If it's lower than 60, then, you know, we're winning all around with this movie. So I have to wait and see what that drop-off is for the second weekend. But, you know, can it make it? I think it will make its money back, and I think it will make a small profit. But I don't see this movie reaching, you know, nearly $1 billion. I don't see it reaching sort of 750 million plus. I don't see it getting that high. 550 to 600, maybe 5 to 600 million, around about that range, possibly. If it does, then it can be slightly profitable, but I don't expect it to make, you know, 7, 8, 900 million. I don't think it's going to get to that point, based on the reception of this movie so far, being very mixed between critics and audiences. But that's kind of where we are, guys. So that's a small update there. The lowest cinema score of any movie, with a B-. It's got 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. And yeah, it's just kind of all over the place. So before we finish off, let's just go through these statistics just one more time. So 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, completely divided when it comes to the critics, sitting at a B- for CinemaScore, which is a physical audience scoring the movie as they come out. B-, the lowest cinema score that there is for any Marvel film. But it has a 79% popcorn meter, which is verified ratings from the audience. So critics and audience, very sort of different on their approach to this movie and the way that they see this movie. So it's kind of all over the place. And I was very divided with my review as well. I liked a lot of things in this movie, but there's also a lot of things that didn't make sense that I didn't like as well. Like I say, check out that review linked in the description below, guys, if you want to know more about what I thought of this movie. So there we go, guys. A $90 million opening weekend as well, which I don't think is the worst thing in the world considering the reception of this movie. But ultimately, the second weekend and the drop-off is going to be the big telltale sign as to how this movie is going to continue to do at the box office, going into its second, third, fourth, and, you know, potentially fifth weekend. So I have to wait and see how big that drop-off is. But guys, you see this news about this movie, this kind of update here with the box office and the critic and the audience reviews. What do you think about this, guys? Jump into the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this information. I'd be very curious to hear your feedback. And did you see the movie? What did you think of it? Drop your comments down below. Please don't put any spoilers down there, guys, because it's not cool to do that. Thanks so much for being here. Make sure you hit the like button. Consider becoming a subscriber of the channel if you haven't done so far. It goes a long way to supporting the content. And I will see you in the next video.